using the customer's first name, knowing about the customer, talking to them, building rapport. So any kind of conversations you have with them, if you hear a dog in the background or a baby in the background and you're talking to them, you want to make sure you put notes in the system of all the things you talk to them about. So next time you talk to them, you can bring those up again. Hi, Therese with Agency Performance Partners, and thanks for joining me for this blog. And today we're going to talk about the top 5 insurance representative skills. The top 5 representative skills can vary depending on your agency, your focus, your target market, but these are the general CSR skills that we see in the market. So the first one is documentation. Second is wow moments or customer service. Next is managing your time, client tiering, and cross-selling. So why does Agency Performance Partners see this as the top 5 CSR skills or representative skills? Well, starting off with documentation, the reason why you have to have documentation as your foundation is because you basically have to make sure you document everything, not only for errors and admission purposes and make sure that you're covering the agency and you're covering yourself when things are changed on policies, which can cause legal action. You also want to make sure you're documenting things for your coworkers. If you win the lottery at lunch, we all know you're not going to come back. You may come back tomorrow if you really, really love your job, but we doubt it. So if you do win the lottery at lunch, you want your coworkers to be able to pick up where you left off. And the best way to do that is by having excellent documentation skills, where everything you do with a client is documented. Now, you don't need to write a textbook. You need to make sure that you have all of the important details in the file in your management system, not in a notebook. So we here at APP have whiteboards we use if we have to jot something down real quick. But notebooks, we do not use notebooks. Now, I was taught to use a notebook, and if I didn't come to a meeting with my notebook, our boss would have a fit. So we had to have our notebooks. That's how we were trained. But that was before the digital. That was in like 2009. So it was before the digital age where you could do everything in a management system. Nowadays, you want to make sure that as you're talking to the client, you're documenting it, and you want to do it directly into the management system, not on a notebook. Now, way back when, sometimes the notebooks worked if they were dated and that kind of thing. But nowadays, that won't work anymore. We're in a digital age. We need to make sure that we're putting everything into a management system. So if I'm on a call with a customer, I document everything in the management system. That customer calls back and I'm busy and they need something immediately. My coworkers should be able to pick right up where I left off because I documented the file properly. And I did it at the moment that I worked with that customer. So adding vehicles, removing vehicles. And I think we've all been in one of those situations where a customer never called in to add a vehicle. And that is really, really unfortunate. Most of the carriers will go in and search phone numbers like the agency phone number and the client's phone number and the dealership's phone number to see if maybe they can backtrack and figure out when that customer or that dealership called in to change the vehicle out. But if there's no documentation of it, then unfortunately, the customer is in trouble because they didn't call in to change a vehicle. So it's really, really important that we document every single thing, everything that the customer called in for. So you want to make sure the main things that you have is your date, the time of the call, which usually your management system will put in the date and the time for you, who you spoke to, what was the change that you made, what was the policy that you quoted, what was the result, how much it changed the policy, if it's a policy change, how much the quote was if you did a quote, if you gave them 3 different quotes, what the prices were, what were the differences in those policies. But you want to make sure that you have detailed documentation. So a customer calls in and they have liability only, and they're in a dealership and they're purchasing a car that has to have comp and collision because there is a loan on it. You want to make sure that you're very clear in your documentation that, hey, this customer called in, they replaced this vehicle with this vehicle. I added comprehensive and collision with these deductibles. I changed this, this, and this. I sent the customer and the dealership a copy of the proof of insurance. And this policy went up this amount of money for the 3 remaining months. divided by the 2 months that the customer still has to pay, because remember, that's going to be an issue when the customer has to pay and they call in and they're like, but you said I had 3 months to pay this, but your billing already went out and you only have 2 months to pay it. So those kind of details are really important. That's why the date and the time are so important, because when the customer called in, sometimes we didn't inform them that, hey, there's 3 months left in your policy, but they've already sent out the bill for this month. So there's only going to be 2 months to be able to pay it. So those kind of things are really, really important when it comes to documentation. So when the customer calls back in with a question or something that's going on, you can answer it. When something comes around of a question of the comp collision deductible, you have special details on what exactly it was that you did. So you won't get in trouble later with legal issues with documentation. Next, we roll into wow moments or wow customer service moments. You want to build strong client relationships. Understanding what those wow moments and what causes a wow moment for us here at APP is really, really important. So we call it depositing into the client piggy bank. You can see the client piggy bank is right over my shoulder. It says client deposit. And that piggy bank is using the customer's first name, knowing about the customer, talking to them, building rapport. So any kind of conversations you have with them, if you hear a dog in the background or a baby in the background and you're talking to them, you want to make sure you put notes in the system of all the things you talk to them about. So next time you talk to them, you can bring those up again. Now, we don't have amazing memories where we can remember every single thing about clients. If you do, that's awesome. But everybody who's in the agency needs the ability to be able to do that as well. So documenting those moments and those important things, or pinning a note to the top of your management system for that client, is an excellent way to be able to bring up those kind of things so your customer knows that you know who they are. It enhances client retention because when you know the client, you talk to them, you know their situation, you know what's going on, you retain that client because they don't want to go to another insurance agent and explain all of their life story again. So the more you know about the customer, the more you know about their needs, the more you educate them about their insurance, the better off you're going to be, and you're going to retain that client. So strategies to create those wow moments is building rapport with the customer, using their name, knowing their situation and the different risks that they have, and educating them on those risks and how they should be insured, making sure that they're covered properly. I have a neighbor who has 5 children. She needs to make sure that if she has rental car on her policy, that she has the top highest rental car available to her to fit all of those car seats into a rental car if something happens to her car. That's really, really important. And I need to make sure I do that. And I have actually, since talking about this, discussed this with my neighbor and made sure that she checked her insurance policy for those things, because you want to make sure that you're taking care of them and that you know what their needs are. There's many, many stories and examples of how wow customer service moments have impacted your agency or an agency around you, or even your own situation. I met my insurance agent at church. I know, like, and I trust him. If something comes up, I can text him or I can email him and he answers pretty quickly. And he's actually the owner of the agency. So for me, it's important that he knows that I exist. I've actually sent him some referrals. Those moments with my agent have caused me to refer business to him. So when you have these wow moments with your customers, they will refer you. And don't ever hesitate to say, if I've done a good job for you, would you mind recommending your friends and your family to me? Because, when you educate your clients and you have great moments with them, they probably go home and talk to their spouses and their family and friends about you anyway. It'd be great for them to be able to refer you and let their friends and family know how valuable you are as their insurance agent. So that's really, really important. So the next one we have is managing your time. This one is huge, and it's probably the hardest one that we have to teach. Why, you ask? Because everybody uses the B word, busy. I'm too busy. They're too busy. They don't have time. To be honest with you, we all have the same amount of hours in our day. It all depends on how you are using it. So one of the biggest problems today is this thing, these cell phones. How many of us, when we want a distraction or we get bored or the phone's not ringing, we want to check our phone? Whether it be text messages, whether it be social media, whether it be shopping on Amazon, these are huge time wasters. So we need to find ways to basically not use these. I have a great example. I'm going to step away for a second. You'll still be able to hear me. But they sell these lock boxes. There is phone lock boxes that you can buy to lock your phone in. Now, the problem I found with this is what happens if you put your phone in the box, you use your cell phone for work and a phone call comes through. Now, there is ways to get it open quickly, but this is a way to kind of remind yourself, hey, I shouldn't be on my phone. Let me lock it away. And if you have blocked time or you want to basically say, okay, I'm at work. I can't take any phone calls on my cell phone. I don't use my cell phone for work. I'm going to lock it in the box from this time to this time. So you text your significant other, whoever texts you throughout the day, and you just say, hey, I'm at work. My phone's going to be in a lock box from this time to this time. You will not be able to reach me. If there's an emergency, call me at work. We need to start realizing how often we pick up our phones to do things that aren't related to work, because that is a huge, huge time waster. How often do we walk around the office and chit chat with our coworkers? That is a waste of time. So we need to make sure that we are challenging ourselves to try to get our work done in a timely fashion. Now, if you need breaks with your cell phone, that's perfectly normal. That's okay. Take those breaks with your cell phone, but don't use it when you're at work and you're supposed to be working. Make sure you're prioritizing and being organized. Here at APP, we use a weekly planner and a daily planner. So we plan out our week, we plan out our day. We also plan out our hardest tasks throughout the day. So we call it Eat the Frog. In a chat, we chat to each other the 3 hardest tasks we have for the day. So we list them out. And then at the end of the day, we have to tell everybody, did we win our day? Were we successful? Did we get those frogs done? Basically, when you have to do an outbound call to a client and you don't like to be on the phone, that would be one of your frogs for the day. Make these outbound calls. You need to make sure that you're organizing, prioritizing things. When quotes come in, those need to be a priority, because there are statistics that show if you call a person within 1 minute of getting that lead, you are 391% more likely to close that quote and sell it. If it's 2 minutes, it drops down to 160%. So those should be priorities. Techniques and tools for effective time management, not using a notebook, because if you are taking 5 minutes to write something down in a notebook and then taking another 5 minutes to type all that stuff into your management system, you're wasting time. So sticky notes, notepads, we don't use those at all. We want to make sure that, roles and responsibilities, that you're in your role and you're doing what you're supposed to and you're pushing other stuff to other people. So if you're a producer, you need to focus on sales. If you're a service agent, you need to focus on service. If you do both, then you need to plan out your day accordingly, blocking time to do outbound calls. So those are different time management skills. And we have many, many agencies that have gone through our time management agency efficiency courses that have been successful in changing how they do things. So another tip on that is also making sure that you are snorkeling instead of scuba diving. Okay, so sometimes as insurance agents, when we see a policy, we get in that policy and we go to the folders that are ancient and we go deep, 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 deep in that policy. We call the customer for a renewal call. They don't even answer. They don't call back. How much time did we waste scuba diving when we should have been snorkeling? We just kind of go across the top, just trying to kind of get the basic information to make sure that we have the information to talk to the client. So be careful with the scuba diving. Make sure you're snorkeling and you're not wasting time digging into something that you may end up not even talking to the client about. So the next one is client tiers. And some agents kind of cringe when we talk about client hearing. And we've got to tailor this approach. We have to basically decide based on the client's needs and preferences, based on the client's status in our agency, we need to decide what the priorities are. Now, we have all these clients that call in and walk in every single month to make payments. Those are not our ideal clients. Those are not our high premium, high dollar, high paying clients. Those are usually the clients that have an auto policy, they're monoline, they're just coming in to make a payment, nothing set on automatic withdrawal. So those are our clients that are the lowest tier. Now, why do you say that? Because they waste time. We can get them on digital payments. That's like, I think it's 2 hours a year per client because it's 10 minutes per client that you have to stop what you're doing, get into your management system, find them, get into the carrier that they're with, make the payment, print out the receipt or email the receipt. So you're kind of stopping what you're doing to attend to this specific client. And you can avoid that by setting them up on automatic withdrawal. Yesterday I had a class and I said, every single time that client called in to make a payment, you need to say, can I set you up on automatic withdrawal? Can I save you money? Can I add this discount? Well, what if they say next time, you asked me that last time? Well, as part of my job, I'm trying to save you money. There's a discount you can receive if we set it up on automatic withdrawal. And part of my job here at the agency is to ask you every single time until we get you on automatic withdrawal or pay in full. It's just more logical. It's easier for you. If you have a digital app that they can go in and pay on, that works too. So you want to make sure that, and then you have those other clients, the commercial clients, the high premium, they've got commercial, they've got personal, they have a ton of policies with us. It's high premium. They have it on automatic withdrawal. They barely even look at the renewal. That just kind of rolls over and renews each time. Those clients are our top tier clients. How much time are we spending with those low tier clients that are calling in and walking in to pay monthly compared to those top tier clients that basically are on automatic withdrawal and everything renews automatically? So that is why we say, okay, we want to give wow customer service to both of them. So we want to do renewal calls every year. So we're talking to these high tiered clients as much as we're talking to these low tier clients. We want to make sure that we're balancing out that customer service for all of our clients, that we're giving just as much attention to those high tier clients as we are to those low tier clients. So as an agency, you need to determine what the tiers are, what you're going to name the tiers. One of our agencies I heard called the low clients turkeys, which is kind of funny. You can use code words in your agency for what you call the high tier clients, the low tier clients. Hey, whatever works for your agency, if it helps you, then you definitely want to do it. But it will help you basically see, okay, these are the lower tier clients. I need to ask them every single time if I can put them on automatic or painful. And you want to kind of weed out those clients because you want to spend time on your high dollar clients, the ones that bring in more revenue to your agency. But you need to make sure that you're giving wow customer service moments to all your clients. So hopefully that makes sense. The difference that we're spending more time with those lower tier clients because they're more needy than the higher tier clients, but we still need to make sure we give those ones wow customer service as well. I mentioned in the blog about, gyms. Gyms have different tiers. You can have gold, platinum, bronze, and how each tier has different aspects to it that the lower ones don't have. I happen to go to Lifetime Fitness and I like to swim. So I have the middle tier so I can go to more than one of them because there's one close to me that doesn't have a pool and there's one a little bit farther away that has a pool. And I'm very fortunate in that way that I can have the ability to do that. I grew up in Florida. I love to swim. So that's important to me. The next one is cross-selling. Cross-selling, cross-selling, cross-selling. This one is amazing, and it's my favorite. The last one, my favorite. Why? It's easy. They're warm calls. They're warm leads. You're not having to call out, hey, I would love to quote your auto and your home policies. No, you already have their home. You might already have their auto. You're calling to say, hey, I showed that you have a property policy with us. Can I quote your auto and save you some money? Or I have your auto policy. Can I quote a property policy for you and save you some money? We want to make sure that we're looking at our books of business that we're running lists on who has auto, who has property, who has umbrellas, who has life insurance. So we look for auto, no home, home, no auto. If they have home and auto, do they have umbrella? If they have home, auto, and umbrella, do they have life insurance? So look for different opportunities on things you can sell to people. If they have home and auto, you may want to look at having a jewelry policy if it's not automatically built into that property policy. So be creative. Think of different policies that people need. You may want to ask about toys. And that's what's so great about our renewal review forms at APP is it kind of walks you through everything you need to ask, including toys. So it helps kind of just ask questions in a more natural manner in order. And the form is actually a smart form. So everything you fill up on top kind of fills into the bottom. So it's an excellent form that kind of keeps you on track. If you're having a bad day or if it's an afternoon on Friday, it still helps you walk through those items to cross sell. So look into that. If you need something, you can reach us at agencyperformancepartners.com or you can email me at Therese at agencyperformancepartners.com. That's THERESE at agencyperformancepartners.com. So that is basically our top 5 representative skills. Again, they are documentation, wow customer service moments, managing your time, client tiers, and cross-selling. I hope this video has been educational. I hope it helps you think differently about those different skills. I hope it gave you some tips and some tricks on what to do better. Again, if you have any questions, check us out, agencyperformancepartners.com.